What is a hipster? Someone who drinks PBR all the time. To me, a hipster, I could be very jealous of. You know, they never have to work out, yet they're always skinny. I can't figure it out.
I've been called a hipster. I don't know exactly what that is, but I've been called a hipster. I've been called a yuppie. Again, kind of one of those that I think doesn't really speak to me. I've been called a radical. That was nice. It was kind of a Cold War era name during the campaign.
A hipster is whatever's trendy. You know, it's like the wood walls and, you know, the reclaimed and the recycled and the upcycled, you know, and it's a person that wants, you know, custom jeans that they have to wear for a year before, you know, they can wash them.
Oh, I think it's somebody who's probably trying a little bit too hard to be cool, you know. It's one of those kind of things that, you know, if you're trying that hard, you have to call yourself that, are you that? So I think it's, you know, it's just a name.
Are you a hipster?
No, I'm 50. I'm 50 years old.
How hipster is used, I think a lot of it just defines the person, but really it should be defining the movement. It's not so much a certain type of person, you know. To some degree, I'm a hipster, and other degrees I'm not, you know. Like, I think hipsters really like experiences. That's how they value, that's where they value their wealth at. It's not so much how much money I have sitting in the bank, if I own my home or not. It's, have I seen, you know, the ways of the world? Have I seen every variety?
If hipsters like to walk places, then I guess that makes me one. My pants may not be tight enough, but I'll do what I can. A radical, I don't know. If you know, advocating for recycling being included in our sanitation bill makes me a radical, then so be it.
I think any previous generation automatically knocks the next generation. It's just not understanding. I mean, it's a whole different era of a boom of technology and something that some of the previous eras didn't have. So it's automatically, you know, some of those previous generations just don't recognize it and don't know what to do with it. So because they don't and they're not in touch with the millennials, that, you know, they automatically get them a bad name just because they don't understand it. You know, it's just like my parents or your parents. They don't understand it. It's automatically like, I don't know what this shit is. Sorry for cussing, but, you know, they just don't know.
Especially in Dayton, we got a lot of older, more, you know, grown up. You know, they grew up here. They're entrenched in Dayton. This is their home, and they remember it a certain way. And you know, they still think that you need that dime store or that Tacoma pool. If I may start a fight, you know, they remember certain amenities within these towns, and they think that that's what success is.
Covington embodied everything that we thought our business, we wanted it to be about. You know, youth, and not just youth, everybody, but this kind of element of we love Kentucky, big Kentucky. We all grew up in northern Kentucky. There was just so much kind of raw, homespun cool here that no one had really like pulled out.
Now, when we think about, you know, the purported trends of millennials, let's say, moving into the urban core, you know, we seek them because we know that we fit very well with those interests. But we would argue here in Bellevue that these things that people want now are things that people have wanted for 120, 150, 200 years. So we're just returning to what has always been the case. We're not inventing something new.
Moving back home just seemed right. So there was a lot of housing stock in Dayton. Obviously, just the benefits of the urban core are exceeded. I've always known them, walking to school back and forth every day during high school. I knew they were there. I could never really articulate them very well until the urban movement came along and helped me do that. But yeah, so that pretty much, you know, it was more just, it was familiar to me. It was a hometown feel, and you know, I definitely there was really no other options. So if I was going to be in northern Kentucky, I was going to live in my hometown, see what I could do there.
I like the potential. The potential, you know, kind of keeps me here of all the great things that are supposed to be happening. There's a lot of, how do you say it, characters in Covington that never allow for a dull moment. And I see a lot of people, you know, with the entrepreneurial spirit coming down to Covington and really trying to make it their own. So there's been a lot of movement since I've been here. It'll be 3 years in June. But I see some people that are coming that have great products and great storefronts that really push me and make me want to stay.
Well, I chose to live in Bellevue because it's very family friendly, but it also provides a lot of the more urban core amenities like walkability and nice restaurants and shops for people with kids and wives and wanting to live that kind of family-friendly life.
And we said, could we be doing creative placemaking in public art? And we're doing it. I think it's not this disruption. I think it's just an evolution. And I think this is a fertile climate right now for creativity. I think people are just creating new and interesting things and interesting ways to play. And life, business, culture, everything. That's the next goal.